Folks, Honda is firmly in their it girl era. This is crazy what's going on right now. Back in the 90s, Honda was making all kinds of crazy stuff, and we thought that the cocaine budget had firmly ran out at Big Red, but it turns out they got re-upped for 2026 and beyond. We finally got a further look at this V3R 900 prototype that Honda is hyping up big time, and it may just change the game for hyper-naked bikes forever. First, let's talk about the big thing, the looks. We finally have this motorcycle with an actual bodywork, with the actual wheels and swing arm, and some of the assembly that may actually come to fruition for the actual production motorcycle. So taking a look at the bike, I think it looks really cool. I think a lot of people online are being a little harsh about it. They say it looks a little too angular, too robotic. I'm really excited to see Honda taking these risks, man. Like, honestly, Honda a lot of the times have played it very safe over the last 15 years, and this V3R is finally something cool and exciting and is taking a bold risk. And I don't think it looks too alienating. You know, the front of this motorcycle kind of reminds me of a ZH2 and an MT-09 just smushed together, which really it kind of is if you think about it. Honda's positioning this motorcycle to have the performance of a 1200cc style motorcycle, but with the 900cc packaging. So we don't have any official specs on this bike yet, but I think it could very well make somewhere to the tune of about 170 to 180 horsepower with 100 foot-pounds of torque. Honda did unveil in some marketing materials what the motor probably will sound like too. The engine has this pretty otherworldly, snarling three-cylinder sound that kind of sounds mutated almost. And that's kind of the vibe I get with this bike. You look at it head on and it kind of looks like this freak futuristic mutant, and to have Honda make that is pretty awesome. This to me feels like a Yamaha product, less so a Honda product, and that's honestly a big praise. Seeing the three pipes meet in the front of the engine, the two in the front and one in the rear, and then go back to the outside with a single-sided swing arm. There's the new Honda wing decal on the side of the tank. There's a lot to like about this motorcycle. So me personally, I'm very bullish on the looks. I think it looks muscular, aggressive, very much like a futuristic motorcycle. And for God's sakes, it's not electric. So I think we can all be a little happy about that, right? So even though Honda was pretty light with the kind of technical information we'd love to see from this motorcycle, we did get a few hints of what exactly this bike is going for. Honda's development concept for this is the non-rail roller coaster, aiming for a guaranteed thrill and reassuring peace of mind. Now, reading between the lines on that, I would say that this motorcycle probably isn't going to have extremely aggressive geometry figures. I would doubt that it has a very short wheelbase, a very aggressive trail. I think it's going to be a little bit more laid back, akin to the CB models that Honda makes right now, but with a more aggressive stance and a little bit more aggressive handlebar positioning. And maybe it'll be a bit of a wheelie machine for that. The ZH2 is notoriously the other motorcycle in this category that has a boosted style engine, and it is a big bike. That thing is upwards of 530 pounds. It's wide, it's fat. It kind of has Hayabusa energy. So in Honda targeting this kind of 1200cc performance with a 900cc packaging, what that's going to entail them to do is make a smaller svelte motorcycle that still has an incredible amount of punch. Now, keep in mind, this is a three-cylinder bike spread across 900cc, so that already gives you a pretty solid foundation. You know, you look at something like the MT-09, for example. It has 890cc displacement, 3 cylinders, packs a nice wallop of torque. Where this differs is that there's 2 cylinders in front, 1 cylinder in the rear, so it's going to be even more narrow in theory, and with an electronically driven compressor or turbo in between those cylinders. Now, that's going to allow Honda to do a lot of cool stuff that I haven't seen people talking about. One of the main points that Honda has talked about with this bike is that they can provide boost to the engine irrespective of RPM. That lets you do a lot of really interesting things. You can change the nature of the torque curve on this motorcycle, for example. If you want to have it have a more exciting two-stroke-esque power band, you simply crank up the boost in a non-linear way over the RPM band. Simultaneously, if you wanted to have a sort of eco mode. You could have way less boost come down, enjoy more fuel efficiency, and have a motorcycle that feels more like a 700cc. This to me is the future of motorcycling. A singular bike that allows you to enjoy the experience of something a little bit more tame that's good for the street, or crank up the boost and let her rip. One important thing to think about with boosted motorcycles is heat management. On a traditional turbo system that's driven by the exhaust gases, the hot side of the turbo can get very, very hot. This is why in cars, you can package them pretty easily as they sit behind the firewall in the machine, and then, it's not that big of a deal if it gets a little bit more warm. It's always been a challenge on motorcycles because, well, you're sitting on top of the engine, so any excess heat translates directly to the rider. Ask anybody who's ridden a prior gen 2-cylinder Panigale, and they will tell you all about heat management. Now, since this is an electronically controlled turbo system, it stands to reason it will probably run a little bit cooler on the whole, but you're still pushing boost through the engine, and so it's still gonna be a little bit warmer than usual. Now, keep in mind, this is gonna have a slightly lower compression ratio to accommodate those boost levels. Honda's claiming 10.5 to 1. That's actually quite a little bit higher than I would have expected. I think a stock Hayabusa ran 11 or 10.5 to 1, which actually made it pretty decent to boost. Ask me how I know. And we've actually seen the H2 platform as well. It kind of sits, I think, around 10 to 1. So that tells me that they're able to control for pre-detonation and ignition timing and all sorts of factors using the computer and running a little bit higher compression ratio. But this is pretty trick stuff, and make no mistake, this motorcycle is going to be very, very complicated. But I think if any manufacturer can pull it off, it's Honda. If someone were to tell me design a perfect street motorcycle, well, it may end up looking something like this Honda Hornet CB750. I don't mean to glaze this bike too much, but it really is that good. Take everything you like from an MT-07 or other street-going motorcycles, blend them all together, and give a fun package, all with the Honda refinement and reliability you've come to expect. Best part about this bike, it's a giveaway motorcycle on YamiNoob.co. Hit the link down below and become a member today for your best chance to win. This giveaway is going to wrap up before the end of the year, so your time is running out. Hit that link below and get started today. The other elephant in the room is, of course, pricing and positioning. Now, Honda already has a 1000cc hyper naked motorcycle in the form of the Hornet 1000 SP. But here's the thing. That's positioned more as a value-driven motorcycle. It costs only about 11 grand MSRP, and it makes about 150 horsepower crank, closer to 130 here in the United States, unless you get the thing flashed. Now, that's not really in line with the new crop of hyper-naked motorcycles coming from Europe, for example. The new Street Fighter V4 from Ducati is pushing well over 200 horsepower, so is the BMW M1000 Single R. You have the KTM Super Duke 1390. You have the Kawasaki ZH2, which in a weird way is this bike's closest competitors, being closer probably in price and the boosted thing, and the Yamaha MT-10. All those motorcycles are all either superbike derived or have upwards of 170 horsepower. So I think the V3R 900 from Honda is probably gonna come in, maybe if we're lucky, $21,995, but who knows? A brand new engine platform, a V3 with a turbo, all that stuff, maybe it does end up pushing closer to $24,000-$25,000. But Honda's whole new thing lately has been affordability and fun, right? The Hornet 750 is a fun bike. It's a great bike, it's well built, and it's still fun. So I'm not sure Honda's gonna fumble this and make some $30,000 V3R naked bike concept that nobody ever buys. I think they actually want people to buy this and enjoy it, so it's probably gonna be priced closer to their margins. Of course, the key party trick that this bike has is its incredibly unique engine and boosted configuration. That alone will probably help sell and propel this motorcycle to the forefront of the naked category, especially the hyper naked category. And again, it could be something totally different than what we've ever seen from any other manufacturer because of its flexibility and its size. You're really not giving up much of anything with this motorcycle. And in fact, over the ZH2, it will probably be substantially lighter, substantially smaller, yet still pack that boosted punch that is oh so intoxicating. If you've never ridden a motorcycle that has boost, it's really a unique experience. Whether it's a ZH2 or a Turbo Hayabusa, of which I've had the opportunity to ride both, and a standard H2, I think this is gonna be really cool in a naked bike configuration. And I don't want to discount this fact, but a lot of people buy motorcycles solely for their engine or their sound. Some of us are drawn to the V4 snarls of an Aprilia. Some of us want the screaming inline fours of a BMW or a Gixxer. These things are really important, and this motorcycle is going to sound and feel like nothing else. And truthfully, this V3R is probably gonna go one of two ways. Either it's gonna be the most strange and novel experiment we've seen in motorcycling in the last 25 years, and might just end up being a weird Cliff Notes on some history page somewhere, or it's actually going to lead the charge for future application of boost in motorcycles as emissions regulations get tightened up and as things get more and more difficult for internal combustion engines. And it really will be a test for Honda to be able to create an electronics package that works with this motorcycle. I mean, managing a V3 with the turbo in the middle, with the throttle pickup and all the correct boost settings and all that, that's gonna be really, really hard to do. But again, if anyone can do it, it's Honda. I mean, this is the same company that built a 32 valve V4 oval piston bike back in the 90s. Never discount Big Red. Other things we didn't get confirmed with this new EICMA kind of update, I wouldn't really call it a launch, is, you know, stuff like what are the standard features on this bike gonna be? And to my opinion, I think that this thing's gonna have everything in the kitchen sink thrown at it. I think it's gonna have, you know, the nicest TFTs, quick shifter up and down, 6-axis IMU, all of the goodies on this bike, because again, Honda's kind of positioning this as their flagship naked bike. And it does kind of beg the question, would they put this engine and platform into anything else? Cross-platforming is the name of the game nowadays. Everybody's trying to put motorcycle engines into everything they possibly can. Looking at you, Ducati, with your V2 that you're sticking into every single model in your lineup. But I think given this engine's extremely unique configuration and likely a very unique chassis to match, it's not exactly like a plug-and-play parallel twin that you can just move up or down or left and right and make it work in an adventure bike or a street bike. I do think that this engine will probably only be featured in this V3R 900 for a long time, if ever. So Honda still hasn't said when they're gonna release this thing, but man, it's looking really exciting. I remember a while back we got the first frame and engine concept, and now we have kind of a whole bike wrapped around it. I really hope this doesn't go the way of the Bronx or something like that, where we have a nearly complete motorcycle that just simply never makes it to production. I really hope that Honda actually pulls it off and pulls it through and releases it. And for God's sake, Honda, please make this bike in a flashy red color, maybe a yellow color. Make this thing pop with some super cool paint schemes, because that's gonna help sell it a bunch too. A bike like this should not come only in white or black. Give us color, give us cool graphics, give us cool colored wheels. Look at what Aprilia is doing right now with their colorways. They're going insane. They're making like purple and black and striped motorcycles. I mean, come on, get flashy with it, Honda. Remember your roots in the 90s. So, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, this is the most excited I've been about a brand new concept and motorcycle in a very, very long time. I think if this bike debuts and actually comes to production, it is hands down the most exciting motorcycle that's gonna come out in the next 5 years. I can't see anything else beating this. And in a world where we just keep getting cross-platformed parallel twins or other dinky little motorcycles that are just simple and cheaper, it's really cool to see a manufacturer going up to bat and saying, no, you know what? We're gonna do the craziest thing possible just because we can. And you know, we said it here with the Honda 750, but man, welcome back, Honda. We have missed you at your best. This is awesome to see, and we're super excited. I'll tell you what, the moment a pre-order form drops for this thing, I'm putting my name top of the list because this is such an exciting and cool motorcycle. So that's the update on the V3R. Those are my opinions on it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.